Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about virtuals because obviously virtuals have been going nuts lately. AI agents overall have been going nuts lately. And so I just want to talk a little bit about what we need to be very, very careful of as this kind of continues to progress on to make sure that we're not being somebody else's exit liquidity. So anyway, let's go on ahead, dive right in. And to start out, we are going to take a look at crypto bubbles because what we can see is overall a really, really strong pump on the market today. We can see actually virtuals down a little bit on the day, but when we go to look at the virtuals chart here in a second, I think you'll realize it's really not that big of a deal. But overall, we can see, really, really strong move up in the market. Overall, we can see ICP up over 15%, ADA up over 15%, Jasmy close to 5, Sui over 7, Tau over 11. So, I mean, a lot of really, really good options here. We can see actually memes are starting to come back a little bit as well. We've got Bonk, Pepe, Doge, SPX, Fartcoin, a lot of these different meme coins kind of coming back. And so this also begs the question of the possibility of maybe we start to see the like AI agent kind of rotation maybe die down a little bit and we start to see things kind of move back into meme coins overall. As we have seen in kind of the crypto cycle over basically all of 2024, there's a lot of essentially just like rotations going on, right? And so, AI agents are popular this day and then meme coins are popular the next day and this is popular the next day after that, whatever. We haven't really seen a market yet in which just kind of like everything goes up all at once, other than maybe for those 3 or 4 weeks that we saw in November. So what we can see though right now is things still, we can see AI16Z still up 14% on the day. So, pretty good overall. We can see, 550% on the month, 160% on the week, almost a 2.5 billion market cap. So, things looking really, really good there. Overall, if we do look at the virtuals chart, this is what I was saying earlier, like probably not the end of the world, right? I mean, we did blow past $5. We actually got rejected kind of around like the $5.10 range. And then we have seen a little bit of a pullback here. This is kind of, again, like what I've said in the past, this is kind of expected. You see a really nice run to the upside, and you start to see a little bit of a recovery here. We can see that we did come back kind of to those previous highs. Basically, before we actually broke out, we'd been rejected kind of multiple times at this like $4.12 range. We did actually come back down, bounce off of it, and we actually have come back, and then we're running into a little bit of a resistance here, this like $4.42 range. We can see it was acting as a level of support until we broke through it, and now it's appearing to act as like a level of resistance. And so overall, that's kind of what we're seeing out of virtuals currently. Overall, I mean, really, really strong so far. I mean, this is almost about $4.5 billion token at this point. So, really, really strong there. We can see if we look at the RSI, we basically went from like overbought to almost oversold here pretty quickly, and now we're getting back towards neutral. So, this is probably the range in which things are looking somewhat reasonable. I think it's possible that we, potentially see something similar to what we saw with Sui, and maybe we start to see a little bit of some consolidation here before we do start to see that next move up. We have seen, you can see just some really, really ridiculous move to the upside. And so, I think the possibility that we start to see a little bit of consolidation here could be, a pretty good thing. But overall, I don't know. Virtuals has been moving pretty nuts lately, and so it might just get right back to it and start breaking new all-time highs. If you are interested in trading virtuals, Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything like that for that matter, feel free to use my link in the description below to BTCC. They are doing a 10% bonus on first-time deposits, which is really, really great. I mean, this is basically free money. This is in addition to the extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user. So if you are looking for a new place to trade, or maybe even a second or third place to trade, I think this would be a really, really good option. They've been around for 13 years, so basically not much of a risk of them being like a here today, gone tomorrow type of exchange. Also 300 plus crypto futures. You can see they've got virtuals as well. So I mean, anything you're probably wanting to trade, they very likely have. Also 500x leverage. Again, I'm strongly discourage you using leverage this high, but if you have some sort of some sort of strategy that requires 500x leverage, I can't imagine what that would be, but if you do, they do have that option to you. Also, no VPN or KYC necessary, so if that's something that you're interested in as well, you can feel free to do that as well. So like I said, just feel free to use that link in my description below if you are looking for a new place to trade or wanting to get some of these bonuses, the really, really good bonuses overall. So the thing I wanted to kind of move on and talk about a little bit further is we can see essentially like all of the different like AI agents that we've got. Again, limited to virtuals specifically just because this is the virtual site, but we can see a lot of really, really interesting things here. AIXBT essentially kind of being the like far and away leader of in terms of like mind share. AIXBT is seen a lot recently. We can also see over $500 million in market cap, so running pretty strongly. Also, if we look at 24-hour change, a lot of the bigger ones have actually seen a little bit of a pullback, which is kind of interesting. We can also look around and they've added some more like metrics, I guess, for us to take a look at. Before, it was just market cap, 24-hour change, TVL, and 24-hour volume. Now we can see holders. Oh, also inferences was one as well. But now we can see they've added holders, they've added mind share, which is really interesting. We could see impressions and engagement, which is also a pretty interesting one as well. And then as well as top tweets. So very, very interesting to see like how they're essentially kind of leaning more into the social aspect on these AI agents. I think that's, maybe a good thing, but I also think this is potentially a little bit misleading as well, right? Because in my opinion, AI agents are supposed to be able to do things that create profit and do things profitably, and that's essentially like the reason why you hold it, right? Impressions, engagements, like yes, there very much is value to this, but unless they're like essentially able to capitalize on it somehow, it's hard to say for sure how exactly this is going to be like leveraged, right? And so, we can see, there's a lot of different metrics to look at here. We can see AIXBT running away with the mind share, tons of impressions, tons of engagements, but only 538 inferences. And I think this is because probably every tweet that it makes, it probably makes an inference is I would guess how that goes. But also we can see, Vader also, impressions, engagement, the next closest on mindshare. But what we can also see is they're still probably they're the second highest, at least in this area, in terms of mindshare, but not even close to what we're seeing out of AIXBT. And so there's the possibility here that maybe just AIXBT is undervalued, and this is going to do like AI16Z type numbers, which would be about a 5x from here, from what we're seeing, at least from what AI16Z has done. And so I think the biggest thing to really understand and to really like make sure that we're staying focused on here is looking at making sure that like they're doing something valuable, because the biggest thing that I think a lot of people are going to get wrecked by just during this overall like AI agent rotation and AI agent craze, all this type of stuff, is people like 98% of this stuff is probably just like vaporware, right? I mean, it doesn't really do anything useful. It doesn't actually like have any like novel innovation or anything like that. It's mainly just like people are selling a thing of what it could possibly do at some point in the future, and it's not actually ever going to do that. And so because of that, it's going to go down in price crazy over the next, months, weeks, years, whatever. But there are some things, I'm sure there are multiple multi-billion-dollar market cap tokens in here. We just have to figure out which ones they are, right? And obviously much, much easier said than done. But I think it's very, very important to kind of focus on the fact that like you have to really make sure that you're going in, looking at some of the different stats. If we go back and we take a look at the Virtuals protocol, we can see, maybe impressions and engagements is one way to look at it. Inferences could be another. Again, we have to determine what this AI agent is actually doing, because, again, maybe inferences isn't that big of a deal for a certain type of agent, but then for another one, it's a very big deal, right? Mindshare, again, could be very important for some. I think mindshare is going to always be important kind of universally. But for example, if we're looking at game, and game is only getting about 0.5% of the mind share, but AIXBT is getting about 17.5%. Like, is that a problem? Because game is also seeing, multiple orders of magnitude more inferences than what AIXBT is seeing. So essentially what we have to be doing is looking for the signal in the noise and figuring out like what's actually like providing value. Because from my understanding, kind of all of the things that are kind of running on Virtuals protocol are built off of game in some capacity, right? And so if all of these are running off of game in some capacity, maybe this one is way undervalued, right? Because in time, again, over time, at some point, this is the one that's going to essentially be the foundation that all these other AI agents are built on. And if they start to monetize that, then this is when, game could potentially get very, 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 very valuable, right? And so again, overall, none of this is financial advice. I still need to this is a very, very new and evolving type of space. And so I still don't even feel like I have total understanding of what exactly is going on here. But overall, it's really interesting to see what's going on and all this type of stuff, because I think in my opinion, the really key thing is what is actually going to be monetizable and what can actually make money. Because obviously having AI agent influencers and things like that, I mean, that's novel and kind of fun, right? But I don't think like that's going to like long term be a major like value add. I think like that's something to me where like the new car smell will wear off a little bit, and then people will actually be on to finding something that's like actually useful. And so again, I could be wrong. You know, maybe AI agent influencers is like that's the like greatest thing since sliced bread, and that's all we'll see going on into the futures, because you know, everybody wants to, you know, only listen to AI agent influencers. So I don't know, hard to say for sure, but overall, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and a subscribe, because it really does help me out. Again, I'm really trying to focus on making sure that people aren't getting wrecked, just because especially when we start to see movements like this in the crypto ecosystem, particularly concerning AI agents so far, you always have to be very careful. So anyway, also if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, just feel free to drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those, so if you have anything that you want me to see, that'd be a really great way to do so. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.